Hello and welcome back to FemmeTarot. This is another live. Today is Friday, and I thought, hey, you guys, let's talk astrology because there's so much going on astrologically right now, and we're all feeling it, especially this Mercury retrograde. And I'll get to it in a minute because I messed up. This retrograde has not been kind to me. I don't know about you guys, but it has not been kind to me. Okay. Yeah. I've been bitch slapped a lot. So yeah, I made a mistake. I scheduled this live on YouTube for Sunday, but Sunday we've got our show with Giorgio, and I just realized a few minutes before that I had scheduled it for Sunday, but it's actually now, today on Friday. So I'm not sure if anyone is aware of this. And yes, Gabby's in the house. Hi, Gabby. I know, just one of those retrograde things. So I was in a panic. I was like, oh my God, I just scheduled this the wrong day. But here we are. Here we are. Hello, Raven. How are you? How are you all feeling this retrograde? Let's talk about that for a minute before everyone. So just so we allow everyone to come in, because it's been horrible to me. I've been feeling very, very low on energy, very unmotivated. Keep messing up. I keep messing up. And my Virgo rising is just like screaming inside. Campfire is in the house, running errands, come say, hey, Campfire, we miss you. We really miss you. We'll catch up later, Campfire, as well, because I want to see how you're doing. Hello, Anne Marie. Hello, hello. Well, at least you guys know about this live after that little mishap. Oh, God. Yeah. So it's been chaotic. It seems like everything is going awry. Everything's going awry. We're not even halfway there. So Mercury is retrograde until the 14th. Let me check my notes. The 14th of May. But you have to keep in mind that there is the retro shade sort of period straight after it starts going direct. And retro shade period always starts 4 or 5 days before Mercury slows down and goes retrograde. The same applies when it starts going direct. So retrograde period is actually the most heightened, the most chaotic period or days. So it's not like on the 14th of May when Mercury goes direct that everything's going to be, fine and dandy. We will have to wait for another 4 or 5 days. So just be careful, back up everything. Don't buy any electronics, anything new during retrograde period, during Mercury retrograde. If you are traveling, make sure that you've got your passport, everything's in check before you leave your house. Or before you leave, your hotel, wherever you are. Just make sure that everything is on par and that you've got everything, because yes, Mercury likes to surprise us, not in a good way when it's retrograde, because that's PMS. That Mercury is basically on PMS right now, PMSing badly. During our live yesterday, oh no, what happened, Kemp? I mean, it's been happening a lot lately. Oh, Data's in the house. Early bird. Happy Saturday, Data. Oh, wow. Why are you up so early on a Saturday? I couldn't. Oh, I love to sleep in on weekends. Let me see. Yeah, we're in sync again. We're in sync. We'll talk after this live to catch up. Let's see who else is in the house. Your camera froze, Kemp. Oh, wow. It happened to me on Sunday's live with Giorgio, where suddenly there was a blackout, no internet, nothing for 10 minutes. And that was right. No, was it with Giorgio or was it? No, it was when I did the members live of the staircase, Michael Peterson case. And suddenly everything went blackout. there was no internet, nothing. There was just like dead air. And I was just like running like crazy around the house, screaming at my husband. I'm like, there's no internet. Everything is shut down. What do I do? But anyways, everything was fine in the end. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. Get married yesterday. Oh no. You guys, Mercury is PMSing so badly this time. It's bad. Mind you, around my neighborhood, there have been car accidents every day, and I'm not exaggerating, twice a day. Twice a day. You can hear, police or the ambulance, or it's crazy right now. Hello, Pisces. Oh no, where is it? I lost my Pisces. There you go. Laura. Hi, Laura. Hello and welcome. Yes, Gabby's editing my shorts now, so she's becoming an expert because she's helping me save a lot of time. Oh yeah, she's feeling herself, that's for sure. Oh, thank you, Laura. Yeah, we miss Kemp on the channel. Maybe Kemp will make some time after Mercury goes direct to come back to the show. We might have like a nice casual live show. Yeah, sorry about that, Data. About your brother's wedding. It's a mess right now. So, and Greece, where I live, the elections are up on the 21st of May. Luckily, someone has been consulting an astrologer because that's right after Mercury goes direct. So that's good, but we'll see. It's going to be a mess, I think. Right, exactly. Exactly. Right, before we start, thank you, Gabby, for reminding everyone, if you want to become a member, you can join this channel. There are lots of perks. You get exclusive access to videos and lives that I do just for members. It's very, very safe. It's a safe space. It's very comfortable, so we can talk about everything and anything. You can ask me anything and everything. So that's good. And before we start, also, if you want to book a reading with me, you can just head on over to my website. You can check out what kind of services I offer and my fees. You can find out a little bit about me as well, my website, and you can use the booking form to book a reading with me. And also a reminder that I do have a crystal shop and I do source high grade, ethically sourced crystals from around the world. So check out my crystal shop and see what you like. If there's anything that you like, I also have like incredible scented candles. I don't promote them enough because there's just like, I'm all over the place, but you've got to try the scented candles. They're bespoke. They're my own creation. I haven't handmade them they're hand poured, but I haven't made them myself. But they are bespoke to Illuminary, to my shop, and the scents are exclusive to my shop. So that's it with the plugging. But last but not least, and most importantly, if you want to donate to the Femme Rescue Fund for the rescue animal, for the dogs and cats here in Greece, the rescue animals, there is a huge issue here in Greece with stray dogs, abused dogs. I mean, now the laws have become, it's become a crime to neglect, abuse an animal. Luckily, so you can be, it used to be you would, they would fine you like 300 euros, which was ridiculous because that doesn't deter anyone from doing such a heinous act over and over again. But luckily now it's become a crime. So you do get jail time, but still there is a huge issue with the animals. And as you know, I do volunteer and I do help out and I do foster animals from time to time as well. So if you want to help the animals, then you can just donate on this PayPal. It can be from $1 to up to whatever amount you want, but even $1 or €1 makes a huge difference. Right. So, and I see Gabby's doing the same down in the chat. Thank you, Gabby, as well. Right. Hello, short stack. Okay, before we start, I want to say a couple of things. So, my introduction is because I want to do this a series, right? So, this is for people who are new to astrology. And when I mean new to astrology, I don't just mean the zodiac signs and their characteristics. I mean about reading charts and understanding the terminology and the charts and how what a natal chart means and what you can learn from your natal chart, not just about you, but also about your path, okay? And even about your past life. So, but I've got to start with this. So, astrology was always my first passion. I've always had these gifts that I was born with. I don't like to call them gifts, but these abilities, these metaphysical abilities that I have, I was born with them. But as a child, I couldn't understand what I was feeling, what I was seeing, why I was seeing things that the rest of my family couldn't, why I was receiving messages and I was receiving sort of like mini, like mini video, like mini shorts, let's call them. Okay. Um, and some of these things would then, come out to be, they would happen. And so in order to understand when I was a teen, early teen, in order to understand more about, let's say, who we are and understand and go a little bit deeper into my existential crisis that I was going through when I was a preteen teen, I started reading and got really into astrology. And this is how it all started. And astrology led me to tarot, and tarot led me to basically really open up and accept and embrace these gifts slash abilities that I have. And this is how it all started for me. So I have a very special um relationship with astrology, but I have to say I am not an astrologer per se. I can read natal charts, I can tell you everything there is about astrology, but I do not do predictive astrology. I don't need it anyways, but I don't do it because to become an astrologer and to study this, it's like a bachelor's degree. You need at least 3 or 4 years of intensive studying and understanding of astrology for anyone to be able to read astrology, to understand the transits, the progressions, what those mean, how those affect you. What does it mean when planets are retrograde? There's so many elements and layers to astrology. So that's why I'm going to keep it as basic as possible for everyone to understand and for everyone to learn. And today we're going to start with the houses because it's a very important part for you to understand what the houses mean, not only in your chart, but generally what they mean. And by looking at your chart, and again, things that we learn here, you'll be able to look at your chart, your natal chart, and understand a lot about you. If you practice and you read books on top of what we say here, you'll be able to slowly but surely start reading other people's charts. But it is easier to read your own chart because you know yourself. So things will resonate. So you'll know whether you're on the right track, if you're understanding something correctly, etc., etc. If you have your charts handy right now, whip them out, have them in front of you. It might help you understand to see the positions of the planets on your chart and where they land in which house. It helps just to have that. I've got visuals here ready for you because that makes it a lot more easier for you to understand what we're talking about here. So also we'll get right into it, but I just want to say another thing about astrology. Basically, astrology, your chart, our charts are our universal blueprints. This is our map. We are star seekers, stargazers, we are entities from different planets, different worlds. We are souls, we are spirits. But as soon as we enter this world, a map is created, right? And that map is our natal chart. And that's why it's important to know your time of birth, place of birth, and of course your birthday, which most people know their birthdays, but it's important to know your time of birth. Why? Time of birth is what it indicates your rising sign, your ascendant. This is the beginning of your human life. It is the pin that lands on your astrological map, on your astrological chart, and says, this is where your human life, your human experience begins. And from there on, you start unveiling and unpacking the rest of your life, who you are, what are your emotional needs, who you need around you, what career path you're going to take, mental and health issues, and mental and physical health issues. There's so much you can learn and you can see from your chart. I do a lot of charts for friends and clients as soon as there is a baby and a new baby in the family. The first thing people ask me is like, you have to drop their chart. And that's exactly what I want to do. That's exactly what I did when I gave birth to my kids. As soon as I gave birth, I had natural births. So as soon as I had a little break after the birthing experience, first thing I did was I took my phone, started adding in the time of birth, etc. with my kids, because the first thing I wanted to do is look at their charts, because that way I could understand a lot about my children, about what to expect as a mother too. Right, so a chart, I've got to say something. So I'm going to show you a chart. So let me answer this question. Sure, can we order a chart from you? If you don't have your chart, there are lots of free resources on Google where you can add your time, place, and birthday, and it will show you your chart. You might even get a mini sort of like report or analysis of your birth chart. So Gabby if you can just link one of the two, AstroSeek or Cafe Astrology, then Short might be able to just pop in right now and just draw up her chart. Using a whole chart. Yes, I recommend using a whole chart. Another thing is, because I don't want to confuse anyone, there are different types of astrology or astrological philosophies out there. I have learned the tropical astrology, and I read tropical astrology. But I came up with this idea last night, and I'll tell you what I want to share with you. So during this series, because what I want to do is as soon as things slow down with work with me, I have a lot of readings, but there are periods where I kind of like don't book as many readings because I need to replenish my energy and regenerate. So I'll be doing that around May. And in May, what I want to do is I'm going to start learning Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology is extremely accurate. It scares a lot of people, I have to say. It's very scary because it's accurate, meaning you can, even if you're a seasoned astrologer, Vedic astrologer, and you've been doing it for a long time, you could even see time and sort of like year of death. No doom and gloom here. I'm just saying this is how friggin' accurate it is. So I want to learn more, but it's very different. It's a bit confusing regarding the tropical, right? For instance, my rising in tropical is Virgo, but in Vedic is Libra. So very different. Very different. So it's like you've got to change. If you've learned tropical or Plastis, you've got to change the way you read a chart. Okay. But And what I was thinking is, while I'm learning that, I can come out and do these lives, like shorter lives maybe, and just tell you what I've learned in the process so we can learn together. I don't know how that sounds for you guys, but if you like it, then we can do that. Right. So I want to bring up, first of all, this. Okay. This is what a natal chart looks like normally. All right. So this is an example. This is a great example of the charts and the houses. So as you can see, it's like a pie. It's like a wheel that is separated in 12 pies. Pies, I like to call them pies because this chart reminds me a little bit of that Trivial Pursuit, thingy that you have to play on the board. So, right. The position of the planets can reveal a lot of things and important insights about someone's life, their experiences, and their traits. I've got to say that where your first house is, for instance, here, first house is, so let me come back so you can see me. Hold on, you guys. There's just a lot going on here. Right. Where am I? There you go. So your sun, your rising is always on the first house. Houses, you've got 12 zodiac signs, and you've got 12 houses. So each zodiac sign has its own home, basically. But every individual, okay, so individuals might have some houses that are empty, and maybe they have a couple of houses that are, clustered with planets. That I'll explain what that means a bit later. But don't worry about it if that's the case. And you, for instance, some people might have like a heavy chart at the top, very empty at the bottom. It just means that the energy flows more inside the houses that are clustered rather than the houses that are empty. Always when you read a chart, like a wheel, an astro wheel, you read it counterclockwise and not clockwise. So as you can see here, that's why you've got here where it says Aries in the left, first house. As you can see, it just goes counterclockwise. Then we have Taurus, Gemini, etc. So the first quadrant of the wheel is the awareness of self. This is the blue part on the left side of the wheel. As you can see, this is the awareness of self. The second quadrant is the integration of self with the environment, how you relate and how you interact with your environment and with people in your life. The third one is awareness of others. This is more about perception, more about how you perceive things, how you plan things, and you want to act in certain areas in your life. And lastly, integration of self with society. This is the results. This is what you are meant to achieve, how you're going to go about it, what are your strengths and weaknesses, what you should be aware of. Let's come back. So if there are any questions in the chat, I would just ask you to hold for a while because I won't be able to look at the chat while I'm talking. But later on, you can ask me anything. You just have to drop a cue so I'll be able to see it and not miss it. Right. Now, let's look at the houses first. But before we get to the houses, I wanted to just a little refresher and remind you about the big three. So people who are in who study astrology or really into astrology, normally when we talk to each other, the first thing that we ask, or maybe the second, if it's not what's your name or where you live or where you come from, it's going to be like, what's your big three? What does that mean? The big three is your sun, your ascendant, which is your rising sign, and your moon. These are very important, the three most important planets to know about for you, especially when you're a beginner and you want to start, learning about astrology. These three here, sun, ascendant, and moon, is this is who you are. This is your blueprint, right? This is who you are in this world and what your path is going to be and how you're going to go about it and how you're going to lead this life that you've chosen. The sun is I am. Remember this. I am. This is your personality. This is what you project. This is what you show everyone. This is how you want people to see you or how you think people see you. Your ascendant or rising sign, is how you appear to others. What are the impression? What's the impression that you give to other people? How you project your personality. And then we've got the moon, which is, to me, out of the three, this is the most important aspect that you should always look at. The moon is basically I want. This is your emotional world. This is your emotional core. A lot of times here when we talk about housewives and pop culture and these Bravo shows, etc., we always talk about the signs. A lot of times we talk about the signs of these celebrities or Bravo celebrities, and we're talking about their sun signs. But actually, it would be a lot more accurate if we saw their moon signs. Just the moon signs would be enough. But it's not always easy to find or to know someone's moon sign. Not everyone knows where they have their moon. But it's important because that's the emotional core. So basically, every reaction, every feeling, every thought, every breakup, every time you quit your job, pretty much is affected by your moon, because that's your emotions. Those are all your feelings. In relationships too, it would help to know Venus, Mars, and moon. Who cares about sun? Who cares about ascendant or rising? These are not important in a relationship. Moon, why? Because we're emotionally invested. We're emotionally attached to our partners, right? Venus, because it is the planet of love or partnership. So you want to know how compatible you are. And Mars, the planet of action, the planet when you're pissed off, how do you act? How are you? How do you react? Or what side of you comes out when you're in that Mars mode, in that mode when you're fighting, when you're unhappy, when you have to take action, when it's about decision making. So those three are important when looking at a relationship or the compatibility, what kind of compatibility you have with someone, with your partner, for instance. All right, so let's look at the houses now that we talked about the big three. So let's start with the first house, which is your ascendant, as I said before. This is the house of self and personal identity. This is how you present yourself to the world. It has to do with your physical appearance and your sense of self. And when I mean physical appearance, and I've talked about this a lot, all of the zodiac signs have some specific traits or characteristics in their appearance, that if you've got a good eye and and you're comfortable with astrology, you'll be able to even guess someone's sign from that. For instance, let me give you an example. Kemp is in the house, so I'll use him as an example. Well, not him specifically, not Kemp, but he's a Taurus. So for Tauruses, for instance, very common characteristic is like they've got thicker necks, for instance. They also have thicker necks and sort of broader shoulders and more of a square sort of physique, right? Not all of them, but that's a characteristic. I'm just giving you examples. For instance, let me give you another example. Yeah, also, Leos, for instance. Leos, they've got thick hair or curly hair, really rich hair. They stand out because of their hair, for instance. Okay. Leos, that's another characteristic, for instance. Let me see. Libras, it's the lips. A lot of Libras might have sultry lips or juicy lips or beautiful lips, or like bigger mouths, beautiful smile. So that's a characteristic as well. So every sign has different characteristics. So I just had a quick look at the chat. Not thick but curly. You're Leo. Yeah. So I mean, the hair stands out, for instance, with Leos. Cancers, they might have thick calves, for instance, okay, or they have sensitivities in their, feet or on their Achilles heel. So I'm not going to dwell too much into it, but you get my point, so you understand where I'm going with this. So that's the first house. The second house is the house of personal resources, values, and material possessions. So this is your financial security. So if you want to know, for instance, if you want to look at your chart and see if you're going to have financial success, if you're going to make money, if you're going to lose money, you're going to look at your second house for that. You're going to see what planets have landed, have cozied up in your second house. And that's how you'll know. For instance, if you're looking at someone's chart, you can tell, for instance, if they're good at handling money, if they're stingy, if they're terrible at handling money, if they just they're going to be in the future or at some point in their life they might be very, very successful and very rich. So you look at the second house for that. Third house is the house of communication, learning, mental activity. And it's basically how you express yourself. It's how not just it's expressing yourself to others, but also what is going on inside your head, how analytical you are, how structured you are, what makes you feel secure, makes you feel comfortable. So again, looking clockwise, Aries, first house is ruled by Aries, second house, Taurus, third house, Gemini, and we go on. Fourth house is the house of home, family, roots, your home life, and your sense of security and comfort. This is where parents come up. This is where, for instance, if someone is adopted, okay, and an astrologer looks at their chart, they'll be able to see that from their fourth house, see what planets are in the fourth house, or what kind of aspects are there, etc., etc. It's also your relationship with your parents when you were a child and your childhood. How did you grow up? What values were instilled to you by your parents? All that can be seen in the fourth house. So because this affects your security as well, your home life and your security. Fifth house, again, creativity, pleasure, self-expression. This has to do with children as well, hobbies, love affairs, how creative you are or how you use your creativity, if you're going to have children, how many children, etc. It's all in there in the fifth house as well. If you don't have children, again, if someone, when a seasoned astrologer or an expert astrologer reads a chart, let's say you don't have children, but you had you lost, you had a bad pregnancy, for instance, and you had a loss, that is all shown. As I said, it's a blueprint, so that's all shown and can be seen in your chart, everything. That's why it takes so long to learn astrology. It takes years and years and years and a lot of studying. Sixth house, this is the house of health, daily routine, wellness, the service to others. And as you can imagine, and guess who rules that house? Virgo. Virgos, of course, because this is pretty much your habits as well, your work habits, your health. You can see so much and you can find out so much by looking at the planets or by looking at your sixth house. I hope you guys are taking notes, but everything's online as well. Seventh house is the house of partnerships, relationships, and marriage. So typically, this is the house you go to look at when you want to see, for instance, if you're gonna marry more than once, if you're ever gonna get married. A lot. So a lot can be seen there. Compatibility as well, because when you do synastry charts, if you do synastry charts, then you look at the seventh house. Where are both partners' planets positioned in the seventh house? Eighth is the deep transformation, shared resources, intimacy, and a death. This is Scorpio over here. This is not just, well, this is the sex house, all right? This is if you've got kinks, if you're into sex, if you're really passionate, everything is a seed, or it's been, how am I going to say this? You can see all that, or you can really get an idea of yourself sexually as well, what kind of sexual partners or partners you attract or you are attracted to. You can also see them in the eighth house. You can see a lot in the eighth house, illnesses, also even inheritance stuff as well. So, let's say you have a relative that passes and you're unaware of it. This is a stupid example. Sorry, I'm rambling. This is the Mercury stuff. So what I'm trying to say here is that the eighth house is the house of transformation. So think about Scorpio. It's sex, death, and taxes, pretty much. So all the stuff that we can't, that are necessary in our lives, and some of them we can't live without. Not taxes, neither death. You know what I mean? Then we've got the ninth house, which is the house of philosophy, travel, and higher learning. Sagittarius, hello. This has to do with your, worldviews, your beliefs, your desire for adventure and exploration, and your thirst for knowledge and your connection to other cultures as well. Then we've got your 10th house, which is the house of career and ambition and social status. Hello, Capricorn, because Capricorn's all about status. This is about your hopes and wishes and your sense of belonging. The 11th house, and it's not necessarily the house that will show you what kind of career path you're going to take or what you're meant to do, but it's going to show you, it shows you a lot about, let's say, your abilities and your talents though. So you can use that to learn a lot more about what kind of talents you have and how you can use them to better your life. House of friendships, groups, and social networks. This is, it's your social life pretty much. And it's about innovative thinking and about the future planning, how you transform yourself for you to enter, let's say, or to move into the future in the best possible way, and the most efficient and the best possible way for you. And then finally, the 12th house, which is the house of hidden matters, subconscious mind, spirituality, anything mystical. This is also the house where it's connected to your past lives, not just one, your past lives too. So before I go on, let me see if anyone's got any questions or anyone wants to add anything. Let's say if there is anything here. Okay, so far, no questions. So I want to show you before we go on. So today I thought maybe I shouldn't talk about the zodiac signs, meaning because we talk a lot about them. So let's say the characteristics of Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on and so forth. But if you want us to do that, then we can do that next time, because next time I want to talk about the most important thing. It's not so much the house, and we'll look at the house a little bit more specifically now, but it's also the planets and understanding the planets, because the planets do move, they do progress, they do transits, and those do affect our lives at specific points. And if you understand the houses and you understand planets, then you'll understand how and the energy and how it works when you have a planet in a specific house. So a house basically is, let's say, like I don't want to say it's like not even a school. I would say that a house is more of like a foster family that fosters planets. And I'm not talking about your natal chart. I'm just talking about astrology in general. And these foster babies, the planets, do move around. So they might move from one planet to the other. But so each house, each foster family is different. Some foster homes are stricter, others are more carefree, others are about learning, others are more karmic. So depending where the foster baby planet lands or is being, ends up in, it will change its behavior in a way. It will change the energy around it. I'm trying to find the better way, a good way of sort of a good analogy to share with you guys to make you understand how these work. Because if you understand the significance of certainly of homes and planets for sure, then you are already in a very, very good place to start understanding more how astrology and natal astrology works, and how you could read, or you can not even read, but you can understand your natal chart. Let me see here. Let me bring this back up. So I'm looking at my notes. Okay. So the position of the planets, as I said. So for example, if a person has a lot of planets in the first house, look at here, let's say here in Aries, maybe this person may be very focused on their self-image and personal identity. But if there's a person with many planets in the seventh house, for instance, which is where's Libra, which is Libra, here top right, blue, then this person may be more focused on relationships and partnerships. So what I want to do is I wanted to bring you as an example, for instance, let me check the chart really quickly. Hey, Danny, welcome, welcome. So for instance, I pulled up a chart, a celebrity chart, and for whatever reason, don't ask me why, but I love the guy. So I pulled up Keanu Reeves' chart. So, oh my God, this screenshot thingy is blocking. So I just wanted to like look really quickly at his chart and see where his planets are positioned. For instance, he has a lot of planets, including his sun, he's rising in Virgo and in the first and 12th house. First house, as we said, is about how you present yourself to the world. It's your physical appearance and how you connect with yourself. 12th house is the spiritual house. It is the karmic house. It is your inner world. So it's as you can see, Keanu, he is in the limelight. He is famous a lot, but he has a lot of water in his chart. A lot. He's got a lot of Cancer in his chart in these placements. He's someone who is very, very emotional, in touch with his emotional core, very private, very private. But at the same time, he is a celebrity. He is a mega star, he is an incredible actor, incredible human being too, according to all the stories that have been going around the last years about what an incredible guy he is. But you can see this in his chart. Oh, damn, this is blocking. So he has a lot in his 11th, as you can see. For instance, his second house, which is the house of communication and how you express yourself, is empty, which means that there's not a lot of it. Doesn't mean that he's not good at expressing himself, but it does show that not a lot of energy goes through that house, which means, to me, it indicates that he's someone introverted, someone more closed off, for instance. Then you've got his moon in Cancer. I can't see which house. So that would be the 10th, for instance, in the 10th house, which is his public image and his achievements is there. So as you can see, the 10th and 11th house are pretty. There are several planets there, which means that it's about it's public image and achievements and all that. So he was destined to be famous, but looking at his chart, it doesn't seem that he was chasing after fame. It feels to me, looking at this, that it was more accidental, but that was his fate. That's what he was meant to do. Then we've got, for instance, let's see, 5th house, as you can see here, it's empty. So that doesn't mean anything bad, but this has to do with children, creativity. For instance, we talked about it before. It has to do with children. I know, I read that years ago, his girlfriend was pregnant. They lost the baby. And then a few months later, he lost his girlfriend as well to a car accident. That baby, for instance, if that baby was born, I'm sure that we would have some kind of indication in his chart or in this house about children if he had any. But as you can see, that energy, that house is empty there. So that means that energy there, that's not the focus. The focus in his life, or the focal point, his chart, or the points in his life are not, for instance, children. Or, as we see here, second house, relationship with money, financial security, and possessions. He's someone who does not get attached to material goods and possession. Let's see what else he's got empty. He's got the 8th house empty. This is um the transformational house. It has to do with intimacy, um power dynamics, etc., etc. As you can see, it's empty. He's somewhere more passive as a person. So do you see how you can start reading a chart? This is also intuitively, if you know the basics of astrology, looking at someone's chart, you can even use your intuition, which is how I started off back in the day. I knew the basics, and then I started reading charts, my own charts and my family's charts, and using my intuition, and that's how I learned. um, Again, I want to, for instance, let's see what else as you can see, you guys, he's got a lot of water on his chart. It's very, very dominant. He's got Mars in Cancer. He's got Venus in Cancer. 11th house, both Venus and Mars in 11th house. He's got a lot of Virgo, and his moon is in Cancer, Mercury, and Virgo. And then let's his Chiron, which is the wounded healer, is in Pisces. So he's got a very, very karmic chart, I'm gonna say. But let me hear from you guys in the chat. Let's do a little let's have a little sort of like a little exercise with the chat, whoever's here. So look at his chart, and let's say, as you can see, it's more heavy to the left of the chart than to the right. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but to me, it just indicates that he was born early in the morning. It also indicates to me that he is probably a morning person rather than a night person. So he's far more, let's say, active and creative during the day. Let's see. What else? I want to see what else I can see in his chart that I can share with you that makes that can help you sort of understand how to read charts. Let's see. Let's see Venus. Let's look at his Venus, right? So his Venus it lands in the 12th house. I feel by looking at this chart, so his Venus in the 12th house, and then we've got Mercury in the 12th house too. So Mercury's communication, intellect, and reason. So by looking at that, let me just get rid of that. I see that he's someone in relationships. For instance, what he's looking for in a relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship, he's looking for someone where he feels comfortable and safe to express himself. It's Keanu, looking at charts, not someone who easily expresses he's emotional, even though he's he's got heavy Cancer there. But the Virgo also is what kind of blocks him from being more outgoing, let's say. So by looking at his Venus and his Mercury, you can see he's someone who he keeps things to himself, and he doesn't really express himself in a relationship, and he needs someone. Look at this. He needs someone, because it's so heavy, 1st and 12th. So he needs someone that reassures him, not just his ego. Look at the 1st house. Reassures him, not necessarily ego, but someone who reassures him about who he is and where he is right now, but also someone who helps him express himself, express his emotions, express his feelings. That is the ideal relationship for him, for instance, which is difficult placement, because it's not easy to because it's quite heavy in those planets in those houses, quite heavy. And it can be because, first house is about you, like us, about our projection of ourself. 12th house is the last house, ruled by Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, the transformational sign, the sign of a lot of karma as well. So it's a difficult aspect there. It's a difficult one for him. But I'm glad now he's got a beautiful girlfriend that he goes out in public with her, and he seems happy, and he seems they've been together for a long time. So obviously it took him a long time to find this person, the right person that he feels comfortable with. What else? Let's have a look here. Pluto, which Pluto is the planet of transformation, is, let me find it because I can't really see well. And then I'll get to your questions. Where's Pluto? Why can't I find Pluto? Oh, Pluto is probably here behind this thing. So it's probably between the 10th and 11th house because I can't see Pluto anywhere else. So Pluto is the house of transformation, 10th, 11th house. So there is going to be, and we did see that it also falls upon his status. And so two things about Pluto. Pluto is about transformation. So falls on, let's say, because I can't tell here because there's that little banner thing on the screenshot that I took. 11th house is about, the innovation, about the future, about community. So I do feel that Keanu Reeves is someone who gives back, and we know this already, gives back to the community. But at the same time, next to the 10th house status, he uses his status, his money, his fame to give back to the community. And I feel, just a little prediction, that in the coming years, he's very low key with the charity and the stuff that he does to help people. But I feel that there's something bigger is going to come out about Keanu, about giving back to the community. Could be he built a school in Africa. I'm just giving like examples now, or something much bigger, much not low key. What does K in Pisces mean? Okay, Marley, what does K in Pisces mean? What do you mean? Am I missing something here? If you can elaborate your question, I will of course answer it. Let's see. He's a wonderful, yes, he's a wonderful man. He's got an incredible energy about him. He's just so sweet. And I have to admit, when I was younger, I wasn't the biggest fan. I mean, the biggest fan of his movies because I always, because of Bill and Ted's and Speed and all that, I just found him a little bit too superficial as an actor. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. And I'm glad I was wrong because I love him. Chiron Chiron is spelled with a CH. Sorry, that's why I got confused. So it's spelled with a CH, not with a K. So Chiron is called the wounded healer. This is what have you learned from past lives that you bring into this life that you have to complete, and to complete your mission in this lifetime. That's what Chiron means. So it's oh, everyone's like, hold on. It was in Pisces in an earlier chart you showed. Okay, let me go back and see it. K symbol on the chart. Okay, let me see what you mean. What are you talking about, you guys? Do you mean here? Where is Pisces? Do you mean this chart, you guys, or this one? Are you talking about Keanu? I'm sorry, you guys. Are you talking about Keanu's chart or the example chart? I'm pretty sure you're talking about Chiron, which is Chiron, as I said, is the point where you look at karmic. That one's probably it. Okay. Thank you, Parmesan cheese. Thank you. Okay, I got a little bit confused. But yeah, as I said before, Chiron is where you look at karma. So what it's wounded healer because you bring in a lot of wounds from your past life, and it's about what are you going to do about it in this lifetime? How are you going to heal from them? And Chiron is is more of this, the metaphysical, the more spiritual aspect of our astrological charts. Um, yeah, okay. So I hope I answered your question about that. Got confused. Let me look back at Chanu's chart really quickly. Where's I'm looking at Pisces. Oh, do you mean um this symbol here? That's the symbol next to Pisces here. That's Chiron. That's Chiron. That's the wounded healer. That's what that means. And Pluto is like a P. I'm gonna let me see if I've got them here. I want to show you. I was gonna do that next time. I wanted to show you the symbols of the planets because they can be confusing. And if you want to learn how to read charts, then you'll have to learn the symbols. But I'll do that next time because I don't have them here. So North Node is your potential, for instance. Your South Node is your karmic past, and as I said, Chiron is works with your South Node because it's about all the trauma and how you're going to heal from it and what you're meant to do or what path you're meant to follow in this lifetime to heal yourself from those past wounds and trauma. I don't know if that was clear. I mean, you guys just asked me anything. There's not much else I can tell you about the the houses. It's good to keep notes. These, for instance, you know what? I have to create at some point, I might create like a Google folder and then I can share anyone who wants to have access to it. I'm going to put all my notes in there of all the lives, and then you guys can go back to that and just use the notes as reference. I think that would help. But with the houses, it's just important to know that we have different houses for different aspects in our lives. And by looking at the example of Keanu's chart, this is how we can understand better why certain planets are nestled in certain houses and what that means for each individual's chart. What do I think of second house Aries? I feel that with the second house, listen, Aries is an very impulsive sign. Anywhere where Aries nestles, you have to make sure that it's a fire sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Okay, it is the baby of the zodiac as well. So Aries makes the typical mistakes that the baby of the family would make. You know, a daredevil, risk taker, not doing a lot of due diligence, fiery, very impulsive. So anywhere Aries lands on any house, you've got to make sure you see what other planets, for instance, are nestled with Aries. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. So let me bring this up. So second house, we know that it's about personal resources, values, and materials, possessions. And because Aries are very impulsive and the other way that they are, it means, and fiery, it means that you will have trouble, for instance, saving money. So as soon as you're able to save a little bit of money, you know, you might go through an impulse buy. Okay. And you might buy a new car. You might, buy an expensive phone or computer, iPad, whatever. It means that you're very impulsive with your material, you're not attached at all to money or material goods, but you're also not very good at managing and handling these things. So it just shows that there you have to be a little bit more organized, be a little bit more, do a little bit more research before you buy a new home or before you start a new business. Because if you get an idea and you I'm talking to Aries now, but like Aries, like once they get into something, they'll just go for it, right? They're not Capricorns, Tauruses, they're not like that. They're not impulsive. They are gonna sit down, create a strategy, do their due diligence, make sure that they've got, all their bases covered. Not Aries. Yeah, we will talk. You know what? We'll talk about that next live, hopefully next week, because I want to go into I want for everyone to understand the planets, because this is like, see, this is a mini like live lesson. Okay. Once we understand step by step each thing in astrology, then what I want you to do, and we will do this together, is I want you guys to take what you learned and use your intuition to read someone else's chart. And maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do, you guys, anyone who wants to be part of this astrology cafe, you can send me your charts by email. And then, once we've had 2 or 3 or 4 of these lessons, then what we can do is I can randomly share your charts to other people. So it would be good to join as members and also become members at Discord. It's free on Discord, but that way it's like an exercise, because you can start reading other people's charts and they can tell you how close you are, or how you're doing, and they can give you feedback. How does that sound, you guys? Because otherwise it's going to be, but listen, to answer a little bit of your question about Uranus and Pluto in the second house, it just shows to me that there are points in your life, or whoever's got Uranus and Pluto in the second house, where unfortunately they might lose sudden, unexpected changes in their home, in their environment, in their bank accounts, in their jobs might happen. But these changes, these abrupt and sudden changes happen for a reason, right? Because Pluto is the planet of transformation. And then we have Uranus, which is the master of it all. He's got incredible power, very heavy energy, he's like, he's got a very imposing energy, Uranus. So you can imagine connecting those two in the second house. So that just shows that there are going to be a lot of changes and sudden changes in someone's life around, their environments, their homes, their material possessions, etc. Oh, I'm glad you guys, you're interested. Okay, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. So what we're going to do is going to learn step by step. Now you get a little bit of an idea of why houses are important and what it means in astrology in your houses. It's good to have this exercise like we did with Keanu Reeves' chart, just to see intuitively what are you picking up from what you're learning here. Next time we'll look at the planets. That is a very important thing, because once you understand planets, their energy, their effect, how they move, things are going to slowly but surely start to make sense. So Isa, I was saying this morning, earlier on, it was meant to be today, but silly me, scheduled it for Sunday, thinking about Giorgio's live. I mixed up those two. So yeah, Mercury retrograde. Hello, welcome, and goodbye. Get good riddance to Mercury. Pluto's almost you can finance, but if he flexes changes, that's what I say. Uranus could also be innovative in your finance and values. Exactly what I said before is that there are going to be sudden changes to all these aspects in your second house. Always look at your house. So also another little tip. When you hear astrologists saying, oh, let's say Pluto is transiting in second house or whatever it is right now, and this is going to last for 2 or 3 weeks, check your chart. We'll get into that. I don't want to confuse you right now. We'll get into that once we get the basics, okay, out of the way. Then we can learn a little bit what astrologers mean when they do forecasts, when we have different transits. For instance, Pluto's in Aquarius. What does that mean? I've been talking a lot about that right now. That we can do a separate video for that, because this is something that all of the astrologers right now are talking about, because no one really knows what that really means. There's just a lot, because and also there is dichotomy between the Vedic astrologers and the tropical astrologers right now. It's a mess because of Pluto and Aquarius. People, we're all, listen, guys, I've been talking about this. Now is the time where we're ascending. We are coming into a time where we're going to be living in the new earth, a new world. Everything is going to change around us by this time next year. We will talk about this again. I've got more information for you that I've been receiving lately, the last few days. I always make notes, and then I just, I write them in my notebook. So whenever I get the chance, I share with you the messages and things that I receive. But it's good to understand astrology too. It's good to understand astrology because you'll be hearing about astrology from astrologers and from people a lot from now on, because of all these astrological movements and I don't want to say not highlights, but these astrological monumental changes they are bringing. I hope that made sense. It didn't make sense, but yeah. It's been a long day. I learned seventh house also means open enemies. Yeah, seventh house is partnership. So it could mean if you've got retrograde planets in the seventh house, that it can indicate enemies. 12th house is hidden older enemies, blew my mind. Yeah, 12th house is past lives karma as well. It's last house of the zodiac, ruled by Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. The 12th house is it's basically the master, the teacher of it all. It's like, what have you learned in your past life? What did you do about it in this life? Did you do anything to change? Did you do anything to change your karma? And thank you so much for the super chat, Light Mission. Apparently the planets are in similar position as when the Great Depression occurred in 1929, and right now or soon, they will be soon. That is according to Vedic astrology. Yes, they will be soon, I think in June, end of May. I don't remember the dates exactly, but that doesn't mean that we're going through a Great Depression. We will be going through, and I've been warning you guys with the banks. It started already a couple of months ago or a month and a half ago. Domino effect. We haven't seen it or felt it yet, but we will in June. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm warning you. This also brings some positive aspects. For instance, if you've got loans or mortgages, they're going to be reset. Yes, because the whole banking system, the whole institutions, huge corporations, all that, there are massive changes and a lot of them are coming down. Yes, very, very, very soon. So we're going to see the opposite of the Great depression eventually. We're entering the new earth, the phase where, not the phase is the wrong word, but the new earth, a new world, if you want, where money is not going to have any value. We're not going to use or need money any longer. And it's hard for me to describe to you all where we're going, but this time next year it's going to be very, very, very different. I can't even tell you how our life is going to look like, but what I can tell you is that we're winning the spiritual warfare, and we're entering amazing, amazing, amazing times for all of us. Those who are awakened are just going to fly high and just enter a very different dimension. Those who aren't are going to struggle. They still have time, but they're going to struggle. In the end, yes, that's why I'm not stressed as well. I'm not doing anything, I'm not doing any prepping or anything, I'll be honest. A lot of people are like, a lot of psychics, mediums, astrologers are somewhat prepping for it. I'm not, because one thing I know is that it's going to be beautiful and positive in the end. And just like a birth, a birth is painful. You have to go through pain in order to receive the beauty of new life. Well, this is exactly what's going to happen. And it's already started. But the whole thing in June, July with the banks and mind you, you'll see a lot of corporations, a lot of big companies, businesses, conglomerates are coming down. And we'll all be like, and it's gonna be shocking because people will be like, why? I mean, this is like Bed Bath and Beyond, for instance. Aren't they going bankrupt? I read this yesterday. I thought it was huge in the States. Like, what happened? Just saying, examples like that. Good question. What's my favorite house? That's a very good question. I would say, because I have moon in Scorpio, I would say 8th, 7th, 8th, 10th. Those are 3. I know. Sorry for cheating, but I can't pick. Right. Hi, Mylene. Long time no see. How are you, my darling? Right. I don't know if you guys have any more questions, because we're already live for over an hour, but I hope this helped. This helped. It's not easy to teach when I'm live, because a lot of times I'm distracted. I'm always worried, I'm checking my camera, checking the chat, doing this, doing that. I'm a bit distracted. But I'm seriously thinking, and I'll do this over summer when I have a little bit more time, and tell me if you guys are interested, starting like a subscription newsletter where I can send you, I'll be sending you newsletters. I'm not going to spam you. I think I'm going to do this like bi-weekly or something like that, where there's going to be like one astrological topic, one spiritual topic, and one tarot topic or something like that, which will actually, this is going to be knowledge that I want to share with you so we can teach you things. Let me know if this is something that you're interested, because if you guys are interested, then, and a lot of people want to do that, then I'll do that, because that's, as you know, it's a huge commitment to do all that, but of course I'll do it for you guys. Or an ebook. Yeah, a book is, yeah, I have ideas. I already have a draft for a book, but all in good time. I'm not an Aries. I'm not impulsive. I've got a Virgo rising, so I just need. Sometimes I go with my feeling and my intuition, and allow for my intuition to let me know when the timing is right to do certain things. I always want to do, like, my mind won't stop. Aquarius never stops, but I just go with my intuition always. Right. So you guys, that's it. I will try. I don't like to overpromise and underdeliver, but I will try and do this again. So this astrology cafe, we can do it again next Friday live when we'll talk about the planets, and then we'll move from that. And then we'll get organized. And then after we've had 2 or 3 of these lives, then we can start doing some exercises together. And because I want to help you use your intuition to learn astrology, tarot, everything. Everyone has intuition. Everyone is psychic. It's just, you just need to train yourself to open up. You need to open your third eye and train yourself to be more in tune with your intuition and your third eye. And this is something that I want to help all of you do, because your life will change, And that's why we all have intuition. It's been given to us for us to use. So, Issa's moon is Virgo. Yay. Yay. Right, you guys, thank you all for being here. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Don't forget, we'll meet back here on Sunday with Giorgio for another Into the Wilds. Take care. Bye, everyone.